What up, y'all? Nature Girl 30 here, and yes, I still have laryngitis from WrestleMania as well as the Raw after. And I did just finish SmackDown Live, and my voice is just gone. Like, it is absolutely gone. So I'm gonna make this quick so it won't completely disappear on me. But guys, I'm gonna say this. I have never been so happy to be a wrestling fan in my life, because I really feel like that they're definitely trying to make this interesting. They did on Raw last night, and I'm not gonna lie, with all the debuts that came out of nowhere, even though we had the Authors of Pain that came out, but then with Paul Ellering, only for Paul Ellering to get dropped. But honestly, I don't really care much about that, because even as a kid, I couldn't stand Paul Ellering. When he was with the Road Warriors, I was just waiting for him to be moved out the way, because I wanted to hear Animal and Hawk speak. I didn't want to hear the skinny guy speak, but that's me as a kid. But honestly, he just, even though I don't know much about his career beyond the WWF and the WWE, because in the WWE and WWF, he just wasn't needed. He was never needed. He didn't do anything to promote the tag team that he was with. He was just talking way too much, and in my opinion, he wasn't doing anything for the people he represented. But I didn't see that as a kid. I just saw him as a kid that needed. I just saw him as an old, as an old guy that needed to be pushed out the way, and just let Animal and Hawk speak. And that's how I feel with Authors of Pain. As an older woman, I just felt that he was just pointless, just like how he was with the Road Warriors. He was pointless with the Authors of Pain, so I'm not really shocked that Paul Ellering got the boot. But despite all that, Raw has so many debuts that it was ridiculous. We end up seeing Amber Moon, we end up seeing No Way Jose, even though No Way Jose is literally the same gimmick that Adam Rose had, except they're not rosebuds, I don't know what they're called, but it's pretty much Adam Rose's gimmick, and he's going to be swallowed up in his own gimmick, just like how Adam Rose was. So I don't really see No Way Jose. I don't see him lasting long. Not with that gimmick, in other words. But we saw No Way Jose. We saw freaking Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley. And not to mention that Elias is way over than I expected. The fact that the fans were like saying we deserve it after he said, I guess he called him, I forgot what he called him, but after he said we deserve it, that just shows literally how over Elias is. And Elias, people were like screaming like, walk with Elias as loud as they could and burn it down as loud as they could. The fans were on fire that night. They weren't as jerky as they used to be. Jerky. But fans are usually dicks for Raw after WrestleMania. They were actually pretty decent. Like, they weren't jerks the whole time. They actually had fun with it. And I enjoyed it, man. And I think with all the swerves and turns that happened at WrestleMania the previous night, I think the fans actually were satisfied. And they had a good time. They enjoyed themselves. That's what wrestling is all about. It's all about having fun and enjoying yourself. And that's what I saw on Raw last night. I loved it. I really did. And there really wasn't a dull moment. But I will say this. Paige's retirement speech was tear-jerking. It really was. The fact that Absolution left and then Paige was in the ring, we all knew that this was coming. We knew that this was coming. We knew she was not going to perform anymore. The fact that she was out there at the Battle Royal probably really hurt her, because she couldn't be a part of the Royal Rumble. She couldn't be a part of the Battle Royal. She can't be a part of any wrestling again, and we know this. And her speech was like, I thank Daniel Bryan, because seeing Daniel Bryan wrestle for the first time at WrestleMania gave me hope. And it was something that literally made a lot of people cry, and a lot of people like, thank you, Paige. So many tweets on Twitter after that, thank you, Paige, was definitely trending. But then here comes SmackDown Live. And then I end up seeing Paige again as a GM for SmackDown Live, now that Daniel Bryan is a full-time wrestler. I don't know how I feel about that, because that whole retirement speech shouldn't have happened. It's like, if you're gonna go and you know that you're leaving, you leave and you stay gone for a while. You just don't come back 24 hours later with a job as a GM. We just saw you last night with a tear-jerking speech. It kind of, I don't know, lessens it a bit. It makes it cheaper. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but then let's be real. Has WWE taken GM seriously? The only GM they took seriously was Daniel Bryan, because people love Daniel Bryan and people love Paige. But we saw this with AJ Lee, and AJ Lee was way over. And how long did that last? Not long. But she was a pretty good GM. But I'm not really sure about Paige. I don't really know. I'm just still kind of in the middle with her. But I will say this. By all the debuts that actually happened on Raw, all the surprises that happened on Raw, especially seeing Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy together, and somehow I guess maybe Jeff Hardy is on his own now. But seeing so many things happen on Raw, you expect the same thing to happen on SmackDown. But SmackDown really didn't get much at WrestleMania. Their matches were kind of lackluster if you think about it. When it came to AJ Styles versus Shinsuke, it was lackluster. When it came to any other match from there for SmackDown Live, except for what happened with Charlotte and Asuka, and I'm getting to that, it was probably the match of the night. But Raw pretty much had the best moments except for their tag. But I have a review on that, and you'll hear what I have to say about that later. But anyway, the thing is that with SmackDown Live, you expect it to be a little bit better than Raw. I want it to be better than Raw because they never had that opportunity. And since Raw literally hit the ball out the park last night, we expect tonight, after watching SmackDown Live, that we're going to get the same thing. We kind of did, but then it was kind of taken from us when Shinsuke interfered for the main event. And Daniel Bryan was actually scheduled to be the main event with AJ Styles after Paige became the GM and made that announcement. It made the crowd go nuts because we finally saw him in a competition that we wanted to see him in at WrestleMania but never had an opportunity to because Shane interfered. Well, then Shane didn't really interfere. Shane was a part of the match. So we end up actually seeing AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan in the match we always wanted to see. And we were like, okay, no, this is happening. Which made everybody happy, but then here comes Shinsuke. I love Shinsuke as a heel. He is fun. He is more fun as a heel than he ever was as a face. And the fact that he just came out and said, I don't speak English, to whoever, commentator number 2, I don't remember it's Renee Young, it probably was Renee Young. But when Renee was talking to him, he was like, I don't speak English, I thought it was hilarious. And they was apologizing, oh, I'm sorry for what I did to AJ Styles. I was laughing. I love him as a heel. He is fun as a heel. But I wish he did not come out for the main event. I wish that he stayed where he was and came out after it was over. And we didn't get that. And I felt like the fans were robbed. Again. But honestly, in my opinion, I don't think that WWE really has any faith in Daniel Bryan. Not so much of him as a performer, but the fact that he will not get injured. They are scared to death. I'm scared to death every time he lands on his back. I'm afraid he's going to hit his head. I think everybody is a little scared because they don't want to lose him again. But I think WWE is more scared from the fact that they actually had Shinsuke come out and interfere. Unless they're going to have something bigger, which I'm not particularly sure. The thing is that I feel like that they're really concerned about Daniel Bryan's well-being and they don't think that he's able to perform without hurting himself. And of course, they got to adhere to shareholders. Maybe they're just as skeptical. Maybe that's why it happened. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with some logic here. This is the last show of WrestleMania week. You want to give the fans what they want. And that happened. And that was disappointing. For me, it was. It really was disappointing. I love AJ and I love Daniel Bryan, and Shinsuke kind of robbed it from us. I know they were trying to get heel heat, but that was the wrong way. That's just me. And speaking of heel heat, I've never been more pissed, more angry, and more sad in my life to see my queen, Charlotte Flair, lose her title to Carmella. That fake fur-wearing Carmella. I'm trying to be nice, but I'm not a fan of hers. And the fact that you had the iconic duo, which made their debut, as happy as I was on freaking Cloud 9 to see them. I wasn't happy to see Charlotte get the beat down and then Carmella cash in, which pretty much took forever because I don't think that the ref could understand what she was saying because of her high-pitched squeals. She ended up taking the belt away from Charlotte after she did all that to beat Asuka. It was disappointing. Some people on Twitter were saying it was karma for the fact that Charlotte was like, I don't know, the female version of Roman Reigns, which I don't really believe that, because here's the difference. Charlotte is actually likable, and she's really good at what she does. And every match she's been in, she's acted like it was natural, like it was something that was the second nature to her. Can we say the same about Roman Reigns? No. The matches he's been in, he's pretty much green as goose crap. And he really has improved over the years, but he's just not ready to carry a match. That's been shown, at least in my eyes. But with Charlotte, it feels like it's second nature to her, like it's something that's in her blood. So yeah, I don't consider her like Roman Reigns at all, but to each his own. But it just broke my heart to see her title getting taken from her, and that shows me how good SmackDown Live was at that point. If all those emotions build in me to the point where I can't stand a character, that shows that I care, and that shows that that show was worth it. The only thing that wasn't worth it was the main event, and maybe from that moment down, it just kind of soured for me. But it still wasn't a terrible show. I would probably say maybe it's above average, but it doesn't trump Raw. It doesn't. It kind of makes me sad that it couldn't trump Raw, because I believe it could, but it just didn't at that time. But other than that, y'all, I'm going to be real with you, and this is my overall thoughts of both shows. I have never been more happy to be a wrestling fan in my life, because I have never had more fun. I have never been so excited. I've never screamed so loud to where my voice is practically gone, to where I have laryngitis. And I don't get laryngitis that often anymore. But that shows how much I cared about WrestleMania, SmackDown, and Raw. Way to go, WWE. You got me to care. You won this time. Good job.